Y'all be quiet. Good afternoon. Welcome to Sobering Truths, the podcast where we educate the public about the dangers of alcohol and substance abuse. We also like to share stories of hope, healing, and recovery from time to time, and today is such a day. I'm Joyce Cook, and joining me today is my co host, Iris Stevens. Hi, Iris. And we have a very special guest with us, Miss Beverly Vance Akins. And while many people may recognize her as the mother of Vice President J.D. Vance, today we're not here to discuss politics. We're here because Beverly has a powerful testimony of redemption. After struggling with addiction, Beverly found recovery and a renewed purpose through her faith in Jesus Christ. Today she travels to churches and communities, openly sharing her story to encourage those who are battling addiction, support families who have been affected by it, and to remind people that no one is beyond hope. Beverly, thank you for being willing to join us and for your courage in sharing such a personal journey. We know your story will encourage many of our listeners who may be struggling themselves or praying for someone they love. Welcome to Sobering Truths. We're honored to have you with us.
Thank you for having me. I'm honored to be here.
Well, I just would like you to tell us a little bit about your life before the addiction became a struggle.
Well, I grew up in a pretty abusive family. My father was a terrible alcoholic, and he was extremely abusive emotionally, physically, and verbally to my mother. Not so much to my brother, sister, or myself, but definitely my mother. And as a child, I remember we had a hiding place in the backyard, and we could always tell when Dad came home drunk because of the way he was driving, and he was a violent drunk. We would assume our position in the backyard. And we kind of had a little shelter out there that my mom had made, and he would go through the house yelling for, my mom. Her name was Bonnie, and he just wanted to yell at her to beat her up. And we stayed camped out in the backyard. And when he would get drunk, he would say things like, "I'm your God." And so as a little girl, I was afraid of God because I thought God was a mean drunk.
Yeah, I can see that. That I heard you tell a story about a washing machine. Can you tell us about that?
I think I was about 11 or 12 years old, and Mom and Dad were fighting, and Dad was literally trying to shove her into the washing machine. He was calling her a dirty whore, and I mean, literally trying to put her into a washing machine. And she was crying and screaming, help me, he's going to kill me. And as a little girl, I didn't know what to do, so I called 911. And when the police got there, my parents band together against me. And they told me that I overreacted, and this was back in the 70s, so nothing happened to my dad, and he was a good old boy who drank mostly with most of the cops in the bars.
Right.
And I remember the cops saying something like, "Jimmy, you can't be mistreating your wife." And Dad goes, "Oh, we was just playing around. She
Yeah.
don't know what she's talking about." And I told my mom, I said, "Mom, I thought he was going to kill you." "Oh, no, you overreacted." And that gave me the most confusing message as a child, because she was literally begging for help, saying he's going to kill me. And I was terrified.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a pretty scary story. I would have felt the same way. Do you think, of course, it comes to mind to me that that may have helped you, cause your addiction?
Well, what I've learned in recovery is that if you have a parent or a grandparent who is an addict, you are at a 60% chance of developing the disease.
Wow.
So I believe, yes, that has a lot to do with I was genetically predispositioned. I tried drugs. I liked them immediately. And alcohol was probably my second choice. If I couldn't get drugs, I would drink. Anything to get me out of me. Anything to make me feel numb.
Right.
But yes, I believe that I was genetically predispositioned, and trying it kind of lit my brain on fire, so to speak.
Right.
What about your sister and brother? Did you say you had a sister and a brother?
I do. I have an older brother and a younger sister, and by the grace of God, I'm the only one that suffers with the disease of addiction.
Yeah. Oh wow. What would you say, Beverly, to someone who believes that they are beyond hope?
No one is beyond hope. You have to, first thing you have to do is pray and reach out for help. Help is available. And if you're not willing or ready to go to treatment, I would suggest that you start with a 12-step meeting, such as Alcoholics Anonymous or Narcotics Anonymous or Celebrate Recovery, which is the same thing as the 12-step meetings, only it's more focused on Christ.
Yeah. Yeah. I believe the Christ-centered treatments seem to work better. I mean, to me, I just think you need Him.
I agree.
Well, is there a specific Bible passage or promise from God that sustained you during your darkest days?
Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.
That's a good one.
That's kind of my mantra. That and the Serenity Prayer, I find myself saying a lot.
Yeah, that's a good one. So, how is we kind of touched on this a minute ago? How is faith-based recovery different from simply trying to stop using drugs or alcohol?
Well, I think with faith-based recovery, you get a holistic approach. You're not just stopping the drugs and the alcohol, but you're also healing the emotional hurts. You're getting closer to your spiritual higher power, and all that is so important in recovery, to main a recovery. So that, in my personal opinion, is why Christ-centered recovery is so much. It works better. It just kind of heals the whole person.
I agree. We know that addiction affects entire families. What would you say to parents or grandparents watching a loved one struggle?
I know this is hard, and I know this isn't what you want to hear, but you've got to let them hit rock bottom. Don't give them money. Don't give them a place to stay. The sooner they hit rock bottom, you're only helping them to make you feel better.
Yeah.
Because trust and believe, every dime you give them is going straight to drugs, or alcohol. And alcohol to me is a drug. And you need to help them hit their rock bottom so that they can be saved and find treatment and find recovery.
Right.
That's hard to do for a parent or a grandparent.
Yes.
To watch a child or a grandchild do that is so hard.
I couldn't imagine it. I'm so fortunate that, I have 2 children and 7 grandchildren now, and neither one of my children show signs of addiction, and so far none of my grandchildren have shown any signs of addiction. But I'm a big preacher. Like, you have the gene. Don't do that. Don't start that. Don't drink that. Don't do that. You've got, you're genetically predispositioned because of Nana. So I think they don't do anything because they're tired of, and I think they are aware that because of me, there is that genetic predisposition because they're at a 60% chance of having the disease if they pick up anything.
I think that's a wonderful point to make, that, that is a way that parents and grandparents, if they see that, if they know it's in the background somewhere in the family, that they can train their children up and say, don't ever start, don't ever take first drink, don't ever take pills, because you already
Absolutely.
have the propensity to have that, happen. So that's
Absolutely. I
wonderful. Mhm.
I agree 100%, and that's what I mean, I literally preach it to my children and my grandchildren. Don't even start because you could be the one, because one of you could be the one that ends up like me, and I don't want to see that. And something you said earlier, Iris, is so true. I can't imagine being the parent or the grandparent of an addict and having to tell them no. That would be the hardest thing. And I sincerely don't know if I could do it, but I think with knowing my story, I think that I could.
Right. Well, I it's such a problem now, and even they say the marijuana. I've never tried it or anything, but they say the marijuana now is stronger than it used to be way back, and that it can cause schizophrenia or trigger it. So this stuff is really scary. Um, you talked about your children. What was the hardest part about rebuilding trust with your family?
Time. I, when I quit using drugs and drinking alcohol, and in my mind, I was doing the right thing, and I wanted them to see that I was doing the right thing, and I wanted them back immediately. But it wasn't in Bev's time; it was in God's time,
Mm-hmm.
and I had to allow them time to heal, and they had to come to me when they were ready. And I'm so blessed that they have both forgiven me and that I get to be a part of both of their lives. I can't believe that God has blessed me like that. I'm not worthy. So I'm just so blessed.
Right. None of us are worthy, but God works things out. He takes bad things and turns them into good.
Yes.
And how much do you feel that He's taking your bad experience and turning it for good for other people? Do you just really have a strong feeling that that's what God has done?
Yes, I do. I think that's why, I didn't make my addiction public. My son did, in his book and in his speech at the RNC. And since then, people have reached out to me and asked me to speak at their church or at their Celebrate Recovery or at their event and share my story. And when I share my story, I try to be as authentic as possible and I tell the truth. And when I was out there in active addiction, it was ugly. I I wasn't living right. I the only prayer I ever prayed to God was to let me die because I hated the way I was living and I hated myself. I was full of guilt and shame. And so I do believe that being given this opportunity to share with others, that if the vice president's mother can be an alcoholic drug addict and recover, you can too.
Yeah, I thought that, and I think He was very proud of you. Um, I I saw you at the, I think it was at the convention.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I remember that because that was a good convention. But I remember that, and I remember reading or hearing something about, and my friend told me too about you celebrated 10 years of sobriety in the White House.
Yes, ma'am, I did. He at his speech, he had said, if, when mom gets to 10 years, if we get elected, we're going to celebrate her recovery in the White House. And when my 10 years rolled around, he kept calling me and saying, come and let's do it and invite some of your friends from, your 12-step program. And I said, you didn't promise the American people that. You promised me. And that's a promise you don't have to fulfill because my friends are people that go to 12-step meetings and they don't have a lot of money and it takes, money and time to go to Washington, D.C. to take off work and do all that. And I'm telling you, JD just would not let it rest. So my anniversary was in January, and finally in April, we went out there. I invited several of the friends that I'm in recovery with, and we went out there and had a wonderful time. He made sure it was very special. We celebrated in the Roosevelt Room with cake and ice cream, and then he gave everyone a tour of the White House, and we even got to tour President Trump's office because he was at Mar-a-Lago.
Wow.
And I got to stand up and act like I was the Caroline Levitt. And so I kind of played around behind the podium, and JD filmed it and showed it to her. And, and she said, oh, your mom would be a great press secretary. Because I got up there and said, so for your MAGA moment today, Beverly is 10 years clean.
Yeah. That was so good. And he was so proud. I could tell. Being a child of an alcoholic myself, I don't know if you find this, but I find that I can read people pretty well. And he was so proud of you. He wanted his mama to feel good on her day. And I think that says a lot about him too.
Thank you. Both my kids are actually very proud of me and tell me every day they tell me, Mom, you're so different. You're dependable and accountable. And when you say you're going to do something, you really follow through and do it. And because as you know, in active addiction, we say we're going to do something, but
Right.
we don't. And now I make it a point, if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. And if I say I'm going to be somewhere, I'm going to be there. And, my 4 littlest grandchildren have never seen me drunk or high. My 3 oldest ones, unfortunately, have, but they don't remember.
Yeah. Thank goodness.
Thank goodness. But yes, I'm blessed. That's all I can really say.
Right. You are. You're really blessed. That's wonderful that there's forgiveness and healing there.
Yes.
I love that.
Yes.
I love stories like that. And let's see. What would you say directly to someone who today is listening today and they're battling alcoholism and drug addiction?
Please get help. You deserve it. God loves you. I love you. And I want you to get help because I want you to know the kind of life you can have is so beautiful. And you deserve it. And you're worth it. No matter what you're telling yourself, you are so worth it. And you deserve recovery. You deserve healing. And I love you and God loves you.
Yeah, we're a child of God. He
Yes.
wants what's best for us.
Yes.
Absolutely. And when our pain or whatever it is, alcohol, drugs, depression, whatever, we're not who God created us to be. And we just got to listen to him and not the lies, is what I say.
I agree.
How do you continue to guard your recovery? It's been 10 years?
11 years.
11
I
years.
had 11 years, January 19th.
So how do you just, you're connected with your person at CR?
I belong to a Celebrate Recovery group. I also have a sponsor, and I have a community. I don't do Narcotics Anonymous anymore because I switched to Celebrate Recovery, but I'm still very close with my Narcotics Anonymous family.
Right, right. And I heard you say you're wanting to work on your bachelor's degree and get your nursing degree.
I am. I'm currently in school. I do think I'm going to take a term off because I've been speaking a lot and I've just been so busy. And quite honestly, I'm struggling with statistics. So I'm going to do it. I'm just not going to do it in as fast a timeline as I wanted to. But again, it's not in Bev's time, it's in God's time. And it's just not time right just yet.
Right. And you're working you're taking medical history right now, I think, for a doctor.
Yes, I work for a psychiatrist, and we actually just started our own intensive outpatient program in June, and I'm a part of that. And I do groups for that, and I talk to all the addicts, and I also do health histories for the other patients that aren't drug addicts, but my primary focus is on the intensive outpatient program.
Right. And it's helpful to have somebody that's recovered and can identify with them, I'm
Yes.
sure.
Yes.
And this doctor is, I heard you say he's good about letting you take off to speak, so that's wonderful.
Yes. He lets me every time. I just block it off of my schedule, and they say, go do it and save some lives, girl.
That is wonderful.
Yes.
You've got a supportive employer.
Yes.
Looking back now, how has God used your story for his glory? I think we've kind of went over it a lot, but can you think of anything else that you would like to say about that?
Well, I hope that God has used my story so that other people, primarily other women, realize that you're never too lost to be found.
That's good. I like that. Let's see how can churches better minister to people struggling with addiction, would you say?
I guess just don't judge them and let them be there and let them be where they are, and counsel them and let them know that God loves them and wants them to have a better life, and just offer to be there.
That's good. I like that. So how can we as Christians show both truth and compassion to someone caught in addiction?
Offer them a lending ear. Let them know that you know they're hurting and that they don't want to live like that, and that help is available.
Yeah. I like that it's not swept under the rug or they're looked down on anymore. I'm glad that churches are getting involved in that with CR and just different programs for different people, that have different problems. I think seems like to me the churches have recognized this and they're trying to work with people.
I agree.
And I'm really glad. If people remember only one thing from this interview, what do you hope it would be?
That God loves you, and that if you're struggling with substance use, and that includes alcohol, because alcohol is a drug, anything that gets you out of you, if you're struggling, please reach out for help, because you're worth it and you deserve it. And life on this side of the lane is so beautiful, and you'll be blessed and you'll be happy. I promise.
You didn't realize it could be this good, did you?
I did not. I did not.
I'm just so happy for you.
Thank you.
So as we're coming to a close, would how can Christians pray for those battling addiction and for their families?
Just like they pray for everything, just pray that the person does reach out and does ask for help, and that the family doesn't give in and doesn't support their addiction.
That's good. Iris, have I forgotten anything that?
I think you've covered it all very well. I think this is most impressive. And one of the things that I'm impressed about is you're a woman. And, we see a lot of stories about men, with addiction problems. We don't see nearly as many with women. And I don't remember seeing a lot of interviews with women who have come out through Christ, who have been able to lose the addiction through Christ. Because I think that's the number one gift that we have there, is that Christ can take it away. He can help us and, make a new world for us.
Yes, ma'am.
And I think that is so important that we see. That's why I really love this interview with
Thank you.
This just offers so much, I think, help and optimism towards some of the people that we know of out there in the community. And I think
Yes.
they'll be very impressed with this.
And I think, too, it's people have to remember that it's not in our time, it's in God's time. Everything
Right.
happens in God's time.
Yes. And
Yes.
and Beverly's going to speak tonight at a church, and I think that's wonderful. You go all over the country, basically, don't you?
Yes, ma'am.
That and traveling is not the easiest thing, so we appreciate you doing that, and we appreciate you being here with us, and we wish you all the best and your family all the best, and thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm honored. Thank you.
Thank you.